Good day. We are the group 3 and today we will be discussing about insect metamorphosis.
Objectives: study of different growth stages in development of an insect. Helps in timing the control operation as also forecasting the health in insect epidemic. Insects go through different stages of development in their insects, and which is known as metamorphosis. In general, there are four basic types of metamorphosis in insects: ametabola, paurometabola, hemimetabola, and holometabola.
Ametabola or no metamorphosis. The ametabola do not undergo metamorphosis. This is an evolutionary primitive condition and is exemplified by insects such as the bristletails and springtails. During development, these insects increase in size but do not undergo distinct changes in form. In general, the ametabola do not have wings. Example of ametabolous insects: apterygotes and secondarily apterygote insects. Metabolous development. Their life cycle includes four stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. The larva differs greatly from the adult. It is wingless and its form and habits are suited for growth and development rather than reproduction. The change to the adult occurs during the inactive, non-feeding pupal stage.
Holometabola. These insects have four life stages, namely egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Majority of insects undergo completely metamorphosis. Larvae of butterflies are called caterpillar. Larva differs greatly in form from adult. Compound eyes are absent in larva. Lateral ocelli or stemata are the visual organs. Their mouth parts and food habit differ from adults. Wing development is internal. When the larva growth is completed, it forms into pupa. During the non-feeding pupal stage, the larva tissue disintegrate and adult organs are built up.
Paurometabola. The young ones are called nymphs. They are terrestrial and resemble the adults in general body form except the wings and external genitalia. Their compound eyes and mouth parts are similar to that of adults. Both nymphs and adults share the same habitat. Wing buds externally appear in later instars. The genital development is gradual. Later instar nymphs closely resemble the adult with successive molts. Example of paurometabola insect: cockroach, grasshopper, bugs.
Metamorphosis. These insects also have three stages in their life, namely egg, young one, and adult. The young ones are aquatic and are called as naiads. They are different from adult in habit and habitat. They breathe by means of facial gills. In dragonfly naiad, the lower lip labium is called mass, which is hanged and provided with hooks for capturing prey after final molt. The insects have fully developed wings suit for aerial life. Sample of Hemetabola insect: red cotton bug. Hemetabola's development: eggs, nymphs, and adult.
Result and discussion. Question number 1. How does a nymph differ from its adult? Answer. The nymph is basically a small version of the adult insect. This is very similar to how a child looks like his or her parents. Nymphs usually have a thin exoskeleton and no wings. They eat the same food as their parents and live in the same place. As insects, nymphs grow larger. Their exoskeletons becomes too tight and they must replace it. Once a nymph outgrows its exoskeleton, it will go through a process called molting, in which it leaves the old skin or exoskeleton behind. The new skin will harden and become the new exoskeleton. This will happen many times until the insect finally becomes the size of an adult.
Differentiate between the gradual incomplete metamorphosis.
Incomplete metamorphosis refers to a type of insect development in which gradual changes occur in the insect during the development from the egg to the adult. It is also a type of metamorphosis in which an insect hatches from an egg and then goes through several nymphal stages. Each nymphal stages looks like a small version of the adult, but getting slightly bigger with age. At the final nymphal stage, the insect then molts into the adult form. The nymph develops inside the pupa. After the adult produces the eggs, larvae develop inside the pupa. The organism has a larval stage in which its appearance is very different from the adult. The nymph resembles the adult without wings. The nymph is also smaller than the adult. The nymph eats the same food as the adult. It develops into the adult through a series of molts. It sheds its exoskeleton 4 to 8 times. When it becomes an adult, the molting does not occur.
Name the various stages of development in a moth and write the characteristics. The butterfly and moth develop through a process called metamorphosis. Butterflies, moths, beetles, flies, and bees have complete metamorphosis. The young, called a larva instead of a nymph, is very different from the adults. It also usually eats different types of food. There are 4 stages in the metamorphosis of butterflies and moths: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Eggs are laid on plants by the adult female butterfly. These plants will then become the food for the hatching caterpillars. They can be laid from spring, summer, or fall, depending on the species of butterflies. Females lay a lot of eggs at once so that at least some of them survive. Butterfly eggs can be very small. The next stage is the larva. This is also called a caterpillar if the insect is a butterfly or a moth. The job of the caterpillar is to eat and eat and eat. As it grows, it splits its skins and sheds it about 4 to 5 times. Food eaten at this time is stored and used later as an adult. Caterpillars can grow 100 times their size during this stage. For example, a monarch butterfly egg is the size of a pinhead, and the caterpillar that hatches from this tiny egg is not much bigger, but it will grow up to 2 inches long in several weeks. The next stage is pupa, or the transition stage. When the caterpillar is full grown and stops eating, it becomes a pupa. The pupa of butterflies is also called a chrysalis. Depending on the species, the pupa may suspend under a branch, hidden in leaves, or buried underground. This stage can last for a few weeks, a month, or even longer. The next stage is the adult stage, or the reproductive stage. The adult stage is what most people think of when they think of butterflies. They look very different from the larva. The caterpillar has a few tiny eyes, stubby legs, and very short antennae. The adults have long legs, long antennae, and compound eyes. They can also fly by using their large and colorful wings. The one thing they cannot do is grow.
The adult red cotton bug measures about 12 to 15 millimeters in length. The females are longer than males, and it is blood red in color, except eyes, scutellum, anal style, and antennae which are black colored. Besides, there is a black spot on each of the members' forewings. Red cotton bug mouthparts are adapted for piercing and sucking. They form a straight beak or rostrum. The nymphs are smaller than adults and are wingless. The mature female lay eggs during spring in clusters of 70 to 8 eggs, each under the moist soil surface, fallen leaves, and in crevices. The eggs are spherical, yellowish white, about 1.2 mm in length. After 7 days of incubation period and moist weather, eggs are hatched into an active 1 mm long red-colored nymphs which are resemble the adult except size and absence of wings. The nymphs feed gregariously on the cotton balls. The nymphs undergo 5 molts within 49 to 89 days to reach adult stage. The life cycle of bug is completed within 6 to 8 weeks. Leafhoppers go through incomplete metamorphosis in their development. Female leafhoppers insert tiny eggs in tender plant tissue, causing pimple-like injuries. Wingless nymphs emerge and molt 4 or 5 times before maturing in about 2 to 7 wings. Nymphs resemble adults except they lack wings. Later stage nymphs have small wing pads. Leafhoppers has no pupal stage.
Discussion. In this activity, we identify the four basic type of insect metamorphosis and their differences with one another. And in our group, we use red cotton bug and leafhopper and identify their type of metamorphosis.
Red cotton bug is an example of hemimetabolous insect or has incomplete metamorphosis, where these insects have three stages, namely egg, young one, and adult. After the final molt, these insects have fully developed wings suited for aerial life. Leafhopper is an example of porometabolous insect or considered as gradual metamorphosis. They have three stages, namely eggs, nymphs, and adult. Their compound eyes and mouth parts are similar to that of adults. Both nymphs and adults share the same habitat. Wing buds externally appear in later instar. The genitalia development is gradual. Later instar nymphs closely resemble the adult with successive molts. Therefore, we conclude that insects have different types of metamorphosis. Even some have similarities, but they are different in function and how they work or evolve. In this activity, we also identified the importance of their metamorphosis and how they will survive. And also the importance of knowing their stages is to prevent the early emergence of this pest when we identify them habituating our crops.